Good morning, everyone. We welcome you to the Ed Service section of training. We welcome you back to a great new year. And we have a new handbook from Ed Services. And if you have not received one, please raise your hand so the facilitator can give you your grade level or department handbook. So, one of the reasons we put this handbook together is that as a district, so that we're all aligned and we're all looking at the same enduring standards. And we know we're very aware of all of the work that we've done in the past 5 years. We've put it all in one handbook together for you. So I'm going to go ahead and start, and we're going to look at the strategic plan. And you may have already, you probably already saw this in the principal's presentation. They might have gone over this already. The mission, increase student achievement. Our vision, it hasn't changed. All students have options to demonstrate what they learn and the opportunities to be successful and achieve their dreams. Our 3 goals have not changed: raise all student achievement, close the achievement gap, and ensure a safe environment. And then we have 3 strategies: our professional learning communities, our effective instruction, and multi-tiered systems of support. And then we have our initiatives, the balanced literacy. And now that has changed since last year. We were very focused on K-3 literacy, and we really need to embrace balanced literacy for all grade levels. So that means that everybody is part of that. And later on in our presentation, we will go over what balanced literacy means. And we will build a college and career readiness culture. So you will also be seeing more of that at your school sites this year. We're a very collaborative and inclusive culture, which means that all of us are special ed teachers, all of us are EL teachers in the room, and all of us, we teach all kids, and we make sure that we have strategies in place for them so that they can achieve to meet their dreams and their goals. And then the 4 beliefs, these have been Sanger's beliefs for the past, goodness, I think it's been since 2006. These were claimed as our beliefs. Hope is not a strategy. Okay, we can't hope that kids are going to learn. Don't blame the kids. We should not be blaming kids. Okay, we really, as the adults, it is all the adults are the ones that are going to make the biggest difference, and that is you. Okay, and it's all about student learning, and all children can and must learn. Going on, we put the instructional calendar in here for you, and you'll notice in the bottom right corner, those are your professional learning days where you'll need to get subs. Okay, so you will have those listed there for your grade level or your department. If you have any questions, please ask your CSP. They will be sure that you have all of the information that you need. Next is the assessment calendar, and this is for kindergarten through 8th grade. And 9-12, you actually have an assessment calendar that your AP or your principal has given you, but this is for K-8. So I will speed it up a little bit. All the dates are there. There is one date you need to cross off. On yours, it is BAS number 2. Okay, the due date for that is February 1st. Okay, so please make that change in your book so that you have that. We're going to stay very solid on these dates. So please be sure that you put these in, and we're not going to change these dates. So please make sure that you put those in so that you can align those. At the very bottom of the assessment calendar, you'll notice that every grade from 3rd grade to 8th grade, we want your site to choose. Some of you did IABs last year. Okay, you've experienced them. Some of you did more than 5 IABs. So, but we want you to at least try 3 to 5 IABs in a standardized or non-standardized way. Discretion of when, how, and which IABs, those are going to be up to your school site. Okay, so connect with your CSPs again. So that you know how to look at where those IABs are and where they line up. Okay, so either way, so connect with your CSPs on how to find those.
So now that you've heard from Jamie and Nino about the introduction with the strategic plan, instructional calendar, and the assessment calendar, we're going to kind of take a step back and look at the handbook as a whole. We have our table of contents here in front of us, but we just want to remind you that while you have it in a paper copy in front of you, you will also have access to all of this digitally, and we'll show you where on Sanger Learns. But all of the things that you'll be looking at will be updated from year to year and will be held digitally on Sanger Learns. So from here on out, the DIS team is going to walk you through the rest. So we have
Zach,
Teresa,
and Katie. Take it away, Zach.
All right, everyone, let's take a look at our effective instruction elements. These are those foundational elements that we want to see in all areas of instruction throughout a kid's day. So rather than read each of these to you, I'm just going to give you a minute and let you look through them yourselves. Pay special attention to those areas that you feel like you could grow in, and also pay special attention to those areas that you feel like you're actually doing quite well in, and be prepared in a minute or two to share that with someone next to you. So give you a minute and think through those growth and strength areas that you have. And then this would be also facilitators a great time for you to pause and have a great conversation. All right, so now we're going to look at our Universal Design for Learning guidelines. Now, many of you have seen these throughout the course of the past few years, and these are really the lenses that we're trying to apply to those effective instruction elements. So we're trying to think through, well, how do I engage kids in different ways? How do I represent those concepts so that my kids can understand them? And then how do I give my students options to show what they know so that they can show what they know in a way that's meaningful to them? So one thing I'd like you to consider as you look at the Universal Design for Learning guidelines is to think through what your site is going to be focusing on this year. And if you don't know what your site is focusing on, then that is a great point of conversation for you to have with your principal, with your CSP, and with your PLC teams to really think through how you're going to apply these UDL lenses, these UDL principles to your instruction. So have a minute and talk with a person next to you about what things you have worked on so far and then where you'd like to go this year. So for this next slide, this is looking at our multi-tiered systems of support. And this is, many of you, like this is a new term, but what a multi-tiered system of support is looking holistically at the experience of children in schools and thinking not only about academics and behavior separately, but thinking about them together. So having a team of people that's connected to both of those areas of focus for a kid, and using that team together to come up with plans for how to support kids within tiered interventions of services. And so what the MTSS team does is it gathers together, looks at data, and figures out the best places and tiers of instruction that kids can be supported in. And so many of you are on an MTSS team and you're looking at data and you're determining if kids should be flowing in and out of the different tiers of intervention, or you're looking at data and determining that this is a holistic issue that we need to address universally within our school. So it's really a team that is multidisciplinary, looking at data and determining from that data how to best support the needs of the kids using the systems of support that have been in place.
All right, so our next section that we're going to spend some time on is the professional learning communities. So we'll hop on over there and see the 4 questions that we have really used to ground our work in our PLCs. They are also linked with our high leverage team actions. So both of these documents, if you want more details on them, they can be found within your paper copy, and then they're linked digitally as well in our digital documents. They may load a little slowly, but if you, for whatever reason, want to put them on your wall or use them within your PLC, the high leverage team actions, we've had a couple of trainings with PLC leads on them. So there are the 10 actions that we want to see before, during, and after the unit that correspond with the 4 questions. And let's just have a quick pause for a conversation within your PLC about maybe some of the foci that you had in years past. I know a lot of PLCs were working on looking at higher level cognitive demand tasks and using them, HLTAs 2 and 6, or using in-class formative assessment, HLTA 7. So let's just click pause and have a quick conversation with our PLCs. So during the 2017 and 18 school year, a lot of groups of teachers in especially K-6 and then in 7-12 in math and ELA spent a lot of time focusing on the guaranteed and viable curriculum. This is just a sneak peek because those grade levels and content areas are going to spend a lot of the time looking at the work that was done. But it is important that everyone understands what a guaranteed and viable curriculum is. It's basically just ensuring that we have equity, coherence, expectation, and balance across all school sites so that every student, regardless of what school they're in, classroom they're in, they have the same expectations to meet the standards.
All right, so our next section is a little bit different than the others because everyone up until this point has had every single document that we've shared and reviewed. But the content area page for elementary teachers and support staff, you will have all of the content areas: ELA, ELD, math, science, and history, social science. But with secondary, you actually have the pages that apply to your content areas. So you may have a balanced literacy page in there because literacy bridges all content areas, and an ELD page as well. But for math, science, social studies, we tried to keep it applicable to the content area that you are teaching. So we're going to dive right into our balanced literacy instruction page. At the top, every grade level has the same 3 key shifts that we kind of learned about when we shifted to the Common Core for ELA and for math. So these are the ELA shifts: regular practice with complex texts and their academic language. Obviously, reading, writing, and speaking grounded in evidence from text, and then building students' knowledge through content-rich nonfiction. So we all have a really big part in developing these 3 main shifts and skills for our students, and really trying again to achieve more balanced literacy in our classroom. So we're going to give you a moment to look at the bottom section of the balanced literacy page, and you can click on the link and select the grade span that's most appropriate to you. We have a K3 page, a 4-5 page, TK3, 4-5, and 6-12. So if we pull one of them up, you'll see that there's a grid at the bottom, and it talks about reading, writing, and speaking and listening. So each grade span has its own set of really great balanced literacy strategies and resources at the bottom of each page. And these are tried and true research-based strategies that your LST, your ELA, CSP, or coach could help you hopefully talk through some of these items that you might want to explore a little bit further. We will also be offering some choice days to hopefully help build and provide resources and skills when it comes to a balanced literacy program. Okay, so the next section is the ELD overview and resources pages. So you have several pages in this slide that you have in your handbook. The first is the overview page, which if you click actually right on this image, it will take you to the digital document. We'll also put that on Sanger Learns as well. So if you would like to have access to it in the future, you can find it. And then again, anything underlined in blue in both the overview pages and in the digital handbook are all hyperlinks to the documents that they are referencing. So feel free to kind of keep this either saved in your Google Drive, or you can also just kind of keep coming back to visit our Sanger Learns pages, and everything will be housed there. We have our ELD standards checklist as well as your PV legs poster, just to give you some reminders of some best practices and the standards that we're trying to reinforce for especially our English learners and our academic English learners, or RFEP students. So feel free to check out our ELD page on Sanger Learns, and
Don't do it. She gets too many clicks already.
And we will go over the next few slides.
So like Teresa was saying earlier, with the content areas, ELA, literacy, and ELD should have been in all of the handbooks, or very nearly all of the handbooks. When it comes to the next couple content areas, it will only be if it is applicable to you and your grade level or content area. So for mathematics, over the last 5 years, as a part of our Math in Common and Bechtel grant, we spent a lot of time looking at the shifts when it came to procedural skills and fluency, conceptual understanding, and then application, or when you'd actually use the math. There's a lot of great resources, routines, strategies, activities, and representations that we don't want to forget about. We want to keep using them. All of these resources and a lot of presentations from the last few years can be found on Sanger Learns under the Math page. All right, so when it comes to science expectations, teams of teachers and coaches met together and kind of came up with some different protocols or expectations that should help drive our instruction when it comes to the next generation science standards and science in general in Sanger Unified. Remember that anytime that on these slides you see the blue links, they're not active on the slide itself. You would go to the link to the science expectations overview, and then this is where you would be able to actually use those hyperlinks. And then also remember that this is all going to be housed within the digital documents, and you'll be able to find them, oh, there you go, on Sanger Learns on the science page as well. Some of them are linked to further things like with UDL or the effective instruction elements. You can also find different resources on the bottom of the page that are kind of the best practices when it comes to NGSS and science. So that is just the science expectations. The additional resources that we're really recommending, especially with K-5, is Mystery Science. Everything that we've gotten from the Fresno County Superintendent of Schools, or Jennifer Wybert, and FCOE, and then the science framework as well.
So this page is modeled very similar to the NGSS page that Katie just described, and it might not pertain to every single person that's listening to this screencast, but if you're a history social science teacher or you have content that you are expected to teach that connects to history and social science, this is just a great page for you. It covers the shifts that have currently changed or that the history framework is currently presenting around content, inquiry, literacy, and civics, and then it gives some resources down at the bottom so that you can see and understand explicitly what those shifts are and what they look like. So here, this is directly the document. Again, anything in blue is going to be a hyperlink, and it's just a resource for you. So we're going to jump back over to our table of contents, and the next section that we're going to focus on is technology integration. In Sanger, we've done amazing with our increase in the use of technology and the depth to which we're using technology and using it really to leverage and allow for different levels of student understanding and different ways of showing their understanding. We can always do a little bit better. So we just want to look at the SAMR model and how we are moving up. SAMR model, again, just like when we think of depth of knowledge, it doesn't mean that substitution is bad, just like depth of knowledge level 1 is not a bad thing. That is a necessary step. We just want to make sure that we're not spending all of our time in any one area, and that we are allowing for some modification and redefinition of new tasks that the technology provides, as opposed to solely using the technology as a direct substitute without really changing the task. So the other piece of technology integration is our SIPA compliance. SIPA is the Child Internet Protection Act, and by law, all students in public education have to be educated about 3 areas: appropriate online behavior, safety and privacy, and cyberbullying. A lot of these presentations and the activities that are included on this document have been out there for a while and have been in use, but in recent years, our technology surveys from parents, from staff, and from students say that we really need to be better about this. This is an area that we can grow. So what we did is have, instead of just 1 per grade level, we have 1 per trimester for each grade level. This document itself is included here as well as at the bit.ly here. But they will take you directly to either Google Slides or YouTube videos or activities from Common Sense Media that you can use to make sure that we are appropriately preparing our students for the devices that we are handing them. As far as how we're going to ensure these expectations and lessons are being used in the classroom, that will be discussed later through your administrators, but we do really want to recommend that we keep on top of this digital citizenship and make sure that all of our students are prepared and that we're communicating with parents and families about how we are preparing our students.
And our last section of the handbook that we'll be discussing today is the additional resources section. So we're going to jump down to our SUSD acronyms right after the technology integration. We have our Sanger Unified Acronyms list. Everybody will have this in their packets. Even our veteran teachers might be, interested in looking at some of these acronyms, but especially for our new teachers who have just joined our family in Sanger, we included this just to make sure that you understand and know lots of acronyms that we use every day in our educational setting. We also have a flyer for the SUSD Staff Support Center. We have a little screenshot there of the hours that the Teacher Support Center is open. And our new teachers just got a tour of this support center as well. But please feel free to also, email, make arrangements. We're excited to have so many resources to support our students and teachers here in Sanger. And then last but not least, we have a DOK wheel available just to remind us, as we're designing our learning objectives, that we're hitting all levels of DOK, and especially with our PLC planning for even common formative assessments this year, this might come in handy. And the bottom red button is a link to get to all of those documents digitally.
All right, so like we said, you have the paper copy of the handbook in front of you, but here's where you can find the slides that we've just been showing you, as well as all the different things for the Guaranteed and Viable Curriculum. So on Sanger Learns, if you scroll past the topics or the content areas, and just while we're here, here's the professional learning calendar with all of our PD dates, effective instruction elements, other important links. But up here, this CCSS Enduring Standards by Grade Level, go ahead and click on that. Then you're given the choice to select a grade level, but if you scroll past that, you'll see the slides that we were just working off of. From here, you can either go into present mode, and it'll be a little bit easier. You just put it into full screen right there. And you can go through the slides just like we did. This is the bit.ly to the slides. You obviously don't have to sign in if you're looking at this for 3 months from now, but that's there. And so on. So all the different things, the links, you can just click on here and it will take you directly to one of the different areas, or you can just click next to go through all of them. But again, that's on the CCSS Enduring Standards by Grade Level on Sanger Learns. And just scroll past the grade level or content area and the presentation is here.
All right, in closing, you've had a lot of information so far, and just to close it up, here are some of the next steps for Sanger Unified. It's natural for us to go into common formative assessments now that we are aware of our Guaranteed Viable Curriculum, and that's the next step you're going to take right after I'm done talking. But looking at our rigor and looking at how we're aligning that with our assessments. That'll be really important. And please, reach out to the DIS team. There's a lot of resources out there to navigate, and they would love to sit side by side with you at your site day or any other time that you are writing common formative assessments. Another step is having a district-wide focus on writing and coming back to the basics with writing and ensuring that we are writing daily in every subject area and even cross-curricular. So just looking at writing and doing some professional development there and collaborating vertically and horizontally on writing. Another next step is mathematics and taking a focus and looking at our data further and continuing to develop those concepts. We've had a lot of PD with mathematics in the past, but we still need to grow further with mathematics. And we also need to be data driven, and we're focusing on those target groups and just really looking at not just the class as a whole and how did we do as a whole, but how are our target groups doing as well? So our English learners, our special ed students, our homeless foster, and so on. So it's going to be important that we do that. And lastly, we have kids that are coming in with more needs than ever, and that social emotional learning behavior, that'll be important as a next step for our district, and really giving our teachers the toolbox to use with students that have social emotional behavior, or just any child as they develop a growth mindset and know that they can do it. So we'll be doing some more learning this year with our social emotional behavior. Lastly, we just want to say that we're so proud of everyone's effort last year, and everyone did such a great job at just looking at the student learning, because it is all about the learning. And teachers, you're at the forefront, you're at the ground, and our entire department, we're here to support you. We're here as a resource. We're here to help you. So thank you, and we're going to make it another great year. and please reach out. Have a great day.